Simple, dear, I'll still be here when you're gone. You gather souvenirs, but I will never be your pawn, your pawn, your pawn. My love was in ever again. I lay with cards out on the table. There's nothing to gamble away, but I can promise that you'll never be the same. But I can promise that you'll never be the same. You can double down. I'll still be a proud haven for your love is never love. A river through your bluff, I will be enough, enough, enough. My love was in ever again. I lay with cards out on the table. There's nothing to gamble away, but I can promise that you'll never be the same. It's something you can never take, but it's not uncommon to forsake. Got a chronic urge to complicate. Think of love like a friend, not an enemy. Feeling I have nothing left to hide. I'll say what you know it when it's right. Keep it simple now, living it before I die. Think of love like a friend, not an enemy. My love wasn't ever a game. I lay my cards out on the table. There's nothing to gamble away, but I can promise that you'll never be the same. But I can promise that you'll never be the same. You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Sometimes I wish I had a way to turn back time. I'd give it all to tell the world that you're still mine, mine. I'll wait if it means that we could be together. It's not too late. Remember that you promised me forever. You promised me forever, but then you ran away. I wish we'd be together. You know it's not too late. You know it's not too late. So I've been dreaming of the day that I see your face. 'Cause all my feelings tell me you're the one that got away, away. I'll wait if it means that we could be together. It's not too late. Remember that you promised me forever. You promised me forever, but then you ran away. I wish we'd be together. You know it's not too late. You know it's not too late. I'll wait if it means that we could be together. It's not too late. Remember that you promised me forever. You promised me forever, but then you ran away. I wish we'd be together. You know it's not too late. You know.
Welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday. Welcome everybody. Sorry about the delay. Thank you all for being here today. I hope everyone's doing okay. Folks, if you want to support the channel directly, I'll just get all the stuff out of the way here first. Please keep doing what you're doing. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so. We are at 489 YouTube subscribers, so that's good. Check out the Discord if you want to support the channel directly. Check out the merch store and Substack and all the awesome stuff. Check out my show on this space every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and a new panel show called The Space Station, which I am a part of, every Thursday at 5 p.m. Still working on getting that to show up here. Don't worry, I'll remember to get it going. Thank you all for being here. Ladybug, welcome. So go subscribe to this space if you haven't done so already. Welcome everybody. Let's get started. So things and stuff is happening. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Florida, we did it! We showed the world what organized people can accomplish. And we showed the world what people of Florida are all about. Medicare for all.
We had more elections take place tonight across the country. In California, there is a special election going on. There's also some Democratic and Republican primaries in Alaska. But I want to focus on Florida for today's video because we got some interesting results. Now, just to kind of put everything out in the open, my expectations going into tonight was that the left would do very, very poorly because Florida has consistently been a very, very difficult egg to crack. But to my surprise, we got shocking results out of Florida. So we'll talk about that. First, let's focus on the 6th congressional district. This is actually a Republican district.
I mean, people are tired. People are tired, okay? They want a real response and real solutions to the problems. People are tired. The status quo is not cutting it. The status quo is not cutting it.
And something very weird was happening. There was a primary taking place between Hitler and Hitler. So Randy Fine, for all intents and purposes, the incumbent, is a neo-Nazi. He is explicitly Islamophobic. He talks about how he hates Muslims, wants to deport citizens, including Zoran Mamdani. And today, there was a lot of attention on this race. You had Mike Johnson as well as Hakeem Jeffries come out and condemn Randy Fine's opponent for anti-Semitic comments that he made about Randy Fine. And it led me to believe that in addition to the endorsement that Donald Trump made recently, Randy Fine, that maybe he was in trouble. Turns out he was not in trouble, but he was running against Dan Bilzerian. Dan Bilzerian is somebody who doesn't necessarily identify as a neo-Nazi, but if you had to put him into a box, he'd fit into that box. He is essentially Nick Fuentes. He denies the Holocaust. He thinks that Jewish people are responsible for the gays and for transing your kids, but he doesn't support genocide. And basically his argument is that, like, if you're offended by what I'm saying, well, Randy Fine says it about Muslims. And he's not wrong, but it's like, well, does that make it right? So the question that voters were tasked with was like, what flavor of Nazi do you want? Do you want the Jew-hating Nazi or the Muslim-hating Nazi? And ultimately, they sided with the latter. They went with Randy Fine. So this was an interesting race to me because in the event Dan Bilzerian would have won, then it would have put Republicans in a really awkward place because they would have somebody in a deep red district who would probably win a seat in Congress, and they would have to denounce him because their AIPAC handlers would not allow them to support this candidate, not offer him any institutional support whatsoever. But if they rejected him, they would essentially hand the seat to a Democrat. And that's if that would even sink his campaign because it's a deep red district. So this could have been a very weird situation for Republicans. But I think that the main takeaway is whenever you see two Nazis fighting, Democrats, let them fight. You don't have to weigh in and side with one Nazi over the other. You can just step back and let them rip each other apart. But moving on to what you're all really here for, the Democratic Party primaries. And there were 3 races in particular that I was watching. So let's get to the results from the first one. Now, this is Elijah Manley's district. He was running in the 20th Congressional District, and he was taking on Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Unfortunately, he did not get it done. He came in.
I don't know, like how this person keeps winning. She is terrible. She is terrible. I'm still flabbergasted as to how she keeps winning.
And this result is crazy to me because Debbie Wasserman Schultz is a carpetbagger. This is a majority-minority district, and she chose to run in this district, pissed a lot of people off in doing so, but she still won. And I feel like, who's going to be able to beat this individual? She is one of the most corrupt conservative members of the Democratic Party, and nobody can seem to beat her in a primary. So some of these districts are crazy? I don't know. Maybe she's just like going to be there forever. Maybe we're stuck with her. I have no idea. But voters in this particular district went for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, which is quite the choice. So, I'm really sad to see that happen. Now, when it comes to the 25th Congressional District of Florida, this is the one a lot of leftists were paying attention to because Oliver Larkin was running a fantastic campaign, and unfortunately, he lost to the DeSantis Democrat Jared Moskowitz. And this district was also really difficult. Austin Knox shared
What a clown. What an absolute clown.
their experience about phone banking, where they say, had a woman hear me out for a few minutes on Oliver Larkin today, asked his stance on Israel, then said she stood even more with Moskowitz now, and ended the call with a fuck you, an experience I have not had phone banking for Malat Kiros, Chris Rabb, or Adam Hamawi. Now, yes, that's one anecdote, but if you look at the replies to Austin Knox, people from the district are like, yeah, that checks out. This is the district. So it's really unfortunate. Listen, this was always going to be a really, really tough fight for Oliver Larkin. I mean, he did a phenomenal job. He got national name recognition. He was appearing on Fox News, Newsmax. He was raising a lot of money. He had a substantial grassroots campaign, but this was a tough district to win in. And, I had a little bit of hope because he had an internal poll come out last week that showed he was just 2 points behind Jared Moskowitz, but unfortunately, he didn't get it done. And it really is just baffling because, again, this is a Democratic primary. It's a largely swing district, so odds are, you had some voters playing pundit and they thought maybe he was just, he's a DSA candidate, so he couldn't win in a general. Maybe that's part of it. But there's a very, very clear difference between Jared Moskowitz and Oliver Larkin. Jared Moskowitz is a genocide denier, and he's voted to send money to Israel, the country doing a genocide. On top of that, he led Ron DeSantis' COVID response in Florida, which was disastrous. He voted to censure Rashida Tlaib, Al Green. He voted for the Laken Riley Act. So for all intents and purposes, this is somebody who is a moderate Republican, if we want to be charitable. And I don't know why.
Yeah, it's like a distinction without a difference, right?
Democratic voter would support an individual that's this conservative. But again, Florida's a different beast, man. Florida has some people that are Floridian. I don't know how else to describe them. There's no other adjective that I can use because Florida is its own fucking thing, man. Like, seeing these results, it makes me want to do the Bugs Bunny cartoon that we all see, the GIF that people share where he's sawing off Florida and pushing it into the ocean. Like, it makes me want to do that, but at the same time, Floridians redeem themselves a little bit because even though we did not see an Elijah Manley or Oliver Larkin victory, we got one that is genuinely surprising. So in the U.S. Senate primary, there was a race between Angie Nixon and Alex Vindman. Now, Alex Vindman is the corporate Democrat. Angie Nixon was the progressive Democrat. She supports Medicare for all. She calls it a genocide, opposes sending money and weapons to Israel. And she was getting outspent massively. She spent something like $975,000, whereas Vindman spent more than $16 million. So in a statewide race, you would think this is going to be tough for her. Guess what? Out of nowhere, she pulled out a victory. I don't know how to explain this. She did something that looked very difficult, if not impossible to do, with almost no money. She won a statewide race in Florida when she was massively outspent 16-1, more than 16-1. This is crazy. So Angie Nixon, a phenomenal candidate, would be another Bernie Sanders type of progressive if she were to win. And now when you step back and you look at a lot of these races, we've got Angie Nixon now in Florida, Peggy Flanagan in Minnesota, we've got Abdul El Sayed in Michigan, Charles Booker in Kentucky, we've got Troy Jackson in Maine. If all of them were to win, and I don't expect all of them to win, I'm crossing my fingers, of course, but if all of them were to win, the amount of progressives in the Senate we would have would skyrocket. I mean, still, it's 5. That's a small portion, but the amount of solid progressives that we have who support Medicare for all, who actually are aligned with the DSA and the progressive flank of the party, I mean, that would be phenomenal. So I am...
And just to be clear, all of this is happening because, again, people are tired. People are tired of no answers, okay? People are tired of no answers. The status quo is failing. Capitalism is failing. People are looking for an answer, even if they don't say it that way. Even if they don't say it that way, they're recognizing that capitalism isn't working, okay? It's just not. In part, it's why Donald Trump managed to win the first election, right? Whether people recognized it as such, it was partially one of the reasons, right? He pretended falsely to be some kind of outsider, some kind of shakeup to the system, when in reality he is the system, right? He is the swamp monster that he claimed to want to get rid of. So essentially he was making a critique. Whether or not it was that deep for Donald Trump, the reality is that it's true. There's something deeply wrong with what we're dealing with right now, which is capitalism. You know, people like Donald Trump and even liberals will dance around about what they're talking about, but essentially, yeah, it's capitalism. It's capitalism. So it stands to reason that, yeah, of course, you're going to see more of these people, more of these progressives, have better and better chances, which I personally am okay with. It's rough that it's come to this, but yeah.
Really struck by the results tonight. Congratulations to Angie Nixon. Her team is very clearly talented, and they're tapped in a way that nobody else is. And this is a shocking upset that I don't think a lot of people saw coming. Listen, as I stated earlier, my expectations were very low coming into this election. I was really hopeful that we would see an upset. I didn't expect much out of Florida, but for Angie Nixon to straight up win a statewide race, that is crazy. So congratulations to Angie Nixon and to everybody else, Oliver Larkin, Elijah Manley. I mean, you did the best that you could in the political environment that you got. I genuinely don't know what the secret sauce is for Florida. I think we all need to take notes from Angie Nixon, learn from her, and get her advice, because
I mean, like, the secret sauce is just to continue to critique capitalism, right? Like, the secret sauce is the Mamdani sauce, right? Affordability. But, you know, talk about it. Affordability. The system isn't working for you. You deserve healthcare. You deserve higher education. You deserve a government that actually works for you. And then do it, right? And then do it. Like Mamdani has been going around just making these videos about him just kind of you know, cycling around New York fixing stuff. That's what you're supposed to do. That's just government doing its job. And to restore faith in these type of institutions.
Forward, whatever blueprint she had,
instead of the alternative, which is what the far right offers, which is totalitarianism.
Utilize that because it worked. And maybe it's different in these districts because there was gerrymandering recently, and on top of that, these districts are very distinct. So it's gonna be a little bit different depending on where you're running on. But like, Florida is a tough state to run on if you're a progressive. It's a tough state if you're a Democrat in general, but it seems like they seem to prefer corporate Democrats in many instances in Florida. I don't know what the fuck is going on in Florida. Either way, I expect to just feel nothing after the election, but I'm somehow feeling rejuvenated because Angie Nixon pulled off a win. That is insane. So here we are again, shocked by the results of an election in a Democratic Party primary. And, you know, even though we had some really strong, amazing candidates not win, Angie Nixon's win should be celebrated by everybody on the left because she truly is an amazing candidate and she would be a fantastic senator. So I mean, amazing news.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff, here. So the kicker is that she needs to win the general, right? That's the kicker. Nadia, welcome. That is the asterisk to that. She needs to win the general. Point blank, period. It's already pretty impressive that she was able to get this far. But she needs to win. She needs to win the general. All right, folks. Let's get into some news. Trump has been floating this idea of making the Strait of Hormuz a U.S. territory. That's just not how things work. Nor is it happening, by the way. Just to be clear, not only is it not how that works, but it's just simply not happening. A message may not have made it. I don't see anything in the queue. Maybe Twitch is being Twitch. It's like 103 degrees here. Yikes. Now, usually if it's something that got auto-modded, I can see it. I can see it like in my oh, the 5 stream. Yep. I do see it. It comes up as a notification. It doesn't put it does it even put it in the chat? I don't know. It comes up as a notification. That's why I said hello. Give you a round of applause for that. So Life, welcome. Bruno, no, this is not Bruno. This is Patrick. President Trump again floated the idea of taking over the Strait of Hormuz as a U.S. territory on Monday, as the critical waterway remains the main pain point of the protracted Iran war. Trump's comments come at a difficult time for the ongoing war that we started. Just to be clear, we started this war. We're the ones that bombed Iran first at the behest of Israel. And there is no we're gonna keep it $1.50. There is no serious negotiations happening for peace. That's not, I don't believe that's happening for a second. I just don't believe that that's actually happening. I don't think Trump or whoever's moving the pieces besides him doesn't want peace. It's just clear. They want this to continue. The struggle against religion is a struggle for socialism. Stalled negotiations for a ceasefire that is not happening, and a memorandum of understanding between the US and Iran expiring on Monday. At this point, it has expired. Trump calling for the U.S. to create a new American territory isn't new. He suggested calling Canada the 51st state and considered Greenland power grab that threatened the rift in NATO. Trump often talks about seizing territory or unilaterally making other countries' property part of the U.S. So far now, it's just been limited to talk. I think it's a great idea, Trump told reporters on Monday in the Oval Office, saying the U.S. blockade is controlling the strait. He added, I like the idea of declaring it a U.S. territory. I mean, he can declare it all he wants. That doesn't make it so. That's just not, it's not happening, okay? We do not control the Strait of Hormuz. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. We can't just unilaterally make that decision to make that a U.S. territory. That's not how that works. On Friday, Trump similarly told Long Island Crowd that he'd declare the Strait of Hormuz, which carried roughly 20% of the world's oil at the outset of the war, a U.S. territory. Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Kazim Garibati said in a response per translation that the Strait of Hormuz cannot be seized by a tweet, nor by aircraft carrier, nor by issuing an order, nor by an election speech. Obviously. An agreement governing traffic in the Strait of Hormuz was negotiated among Iran, Oman, and the U.S., Axios Ravid previously reported, but the Trump reportedly threatened in an interview with a Fox reporter to bomb Oman if it got in the way of negotiations to reopen the strait. So it's just insanity. And again, somehow this guy hasn't been removed from office. Insane stuff. Oh, actually, there is another thing. Something weird is happening.
Well, I mean, I'm obsessed with this Natalie Harp thing, but if you want to wait to cover...
yeah, let's do it. Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
You take the lead. I'm okay.
All right, so I find this story very amusing.
Michael Hasser, welcome. Sup? A hankering American hell on earth can't shake off the capitalist domination because of religion. Republicans think they're saving the lives of babies that aren't babies because of Christofascism.
One, because it just like mirrors, there's a lot of things that were mirrored in succession, but it definitely mirrors his last mistress, Logan's. Yeah. So Trump is near the end. He needs someone to make him feel alive again, and someone who's close to him, obviously not his wife, who is a big movie star.
So weird, man.
A little bit touchy.
Yeah, she's not. She's got other things going on.
30's the perfect age. That's a quote from Donald Trump.
So this woman, Natalie Harp, was called out by John Ossoff in the speech, and it renewed attention on her. There's been dribs and drabs of information about who this woman is. In 2024, Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan of the New York Times wrote a little bit about her right after the election, talking about how there's this aide that's cropped up who has the most loyalty possible to Trump. They write, a 33-year-old former far-right cable host, Miss Harp is nearly always at Mr. Trump's side. She has written him a series of devotional letters, including one that said, "You're all that matters to me." Once when Trump was playing golf...
She's got her priorities right.
Exactly. Once when Mr. Trump was playing golf in Scotland, she ran behind his cart to keep him up to date with positive stories and social media posts. You know,
working out, maybe.
Right. From German, Amerikaner, Raisan from French, Americain. The more you know.
Think about it.
She's got a lot of spunk.
Yeah, cardio to keep it tight.
Didn't have an extra cart?
No, she's got to run behind. Right, exactly. No extra cart, running behind to keep him up to date. She has no official title, but during the campaign, colleagues referred to her as the human printer, humanizing, because she followed Mr. Trump around with a portable printer and battery pack to charge it, and she could hand him information in hard copy as he prefers. Not that you would know anything about that, Sam.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Everyone's calling Brian the office's Natalie Harp.
Human printer.
The human printer.
And also, I do write devotional letters every day.
Brian, thank you for this note, incidentally.
And you also referred to Brian as just like your daughter, much like Trump. Mr. Trump has dismissed concerns about Miss Harp, who he calls sweetie, and treats like a daughter, according to people close to him. Not just any daughter, Ivanka is what I would add. No, definitely not Tiffany.
You're like
the one I want to bang.
So, exactly. A little bit more information about her because it's fascinating to me. Miss Harp, a devout Christian, shocker, who grew up in California, first caught the attention of Mr. Trump in 2019 when she appeared on Fox News and credited him with saving her life. She had bone cancer, she said, and legislation that Mr. Trump signed in 2018, the right to try law, saved her by giving her access to experimental treatments. It is unclear what drug she was referring to. I'd be curious about that. A devout Christian.
Experts have said highly unlikely there was any, because the drugs that she took, that people
Yeah, I
know.
was about to say, like, that story, that story, listen, let's be for real, okay? Let's be freaking for real.
That she took were already okayed by the FDA.
So, and then just one more little piece of information that Michael Wolff had in his book. Now, he's a bit of a, a shady gossip insider journalist, but this rang very true to me. According to Vanity Fair and an expert of All or Nothing, Michael Wolff's new book about the 2024 election, Harp is so wholly committed to Trump that she recently spent a summer living in a golf club locker room just to be close to him. Wolff writes that when the campaign decamped to Trump's golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey for the summer, Harp was deliberately not given a room in an effort to push her out. Others in Trump's orbit had become wary of what was reportedly called the Natalie situation. Nevertheless, she appeared. She had reached out to the ground staff at the country club and gotten herself a maid's room, Wolff writes. And when that proved too far from the main house to respond quickly enough to Trump's calls, she relocated herself to the much closer women's locker room, where with undiminished proximity to Trump, she would spend the summer. I mean, we really are living in the Gilded Age where Trump's mistress allegedly is like putting herself in the maid's quarters to be closer to him.
What? This is a real thing, by the way. This is insanity. This is insanity. This is like a reality. Well, he is a reality TV guy.
So with all of that,
comfortable walking into
Ryan, sweetie, would you just take your sleeping bag and just pick it up off the floor for me? You can put it back down when we go out tonight.
We have
No problem, boss.
we have
Supreme
Asaf.
leader.
We have Asaf here mentioning her that kind of kicked
this all off. Yeah.
And while the sailors on the Lincoln fight his war, while he fruitlessly drains our munitions and oil reserves, the president sleeps through his meetings. He golfs and trades stocks. See, he doesn't want to do the job. He wants to build his ballroom and travel with Natalie on their apparently defenseless flying palace gifted by the Emir of Qatar.
Jesus Christ.
So we have all of that context that I painstakingly provided to you. You know,
I mean, paging all the family-oriented Republicans. You know, can we get a statement? Can we get a statement from the family first conservatives, family values
for journalistic integrity. There's now footage of them interacting. This is a clip from, I guess, which one is this number here? Oh, here it is, 10. So the human printer helps also now with the human typing. It types out Trump's Truth Social post for him. We've long wondered about what the process is for these Truth Social posts. And so here's some footage of Trump and Natalie together.
Yeah, and this is from Art of the Surge, which appears to be either on Fox Nation or Apple TV. So.
Too many, thank you. It's about 20. That must be 35.
Traveling from India to California with an unshakable dream to be the scientist.
How many people are watching?
Can we tell how many, Dan? How many people are watching?
She's talking about how great San Francisco was before she destroyed it. A lot of talk about childhood. We've got to get to the border, inflation, and crime.
He's not proposing a single policy, not one policy. Ours' biography won't lower your prices at the grocery store or at the pub.
But they're putting veterans out on the streets. So.
Oh my god. Is this like the real world? Is this the real world? Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. As it turns out, yeah, none of that actually happened, right? Prices at the quote-unquote pump are still very much high, and this was not caused by something out of our control, like for example COVID. This was caused directly by Trump's war against Iran.
3,000 homeless veterans. Gotcha. Okay, say these the things of which she complains.
Can we just
pause it?
What an array of just
I know.
horrible people.
Characters.
I am just having to exercise so much restraint in talking about all the options that would be available for a room like that and all the benefits that could be accrued were there, I don't know, code defects, a whole list of things, but continue.
Yes. I do want to point out that, like, as he reverts to his extreme sexism and misogyny with his dementia setting in, the way he calls reporters piggy and goes after women all the time, the fact that he sees her most appropriate role as essentially like a typist from a 1950s office
Stenographer,
is
yeah.
just on theme.
Was this clip is from the 2020 summer of 2020?
I don't know how to explain how to pronounce right. French R is impossible. Just giving words at the same vowels misses some subtleties. Yeah, I'm not even gonna pretend I know how to pronounce pronounce that.
24.
He's responding to Kamala Harris's speech here,
Okay,
and
brother
live
of top Trump aide.
truthing with Natalie typing it out.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man.
It's great, right?
Demon.
Ready? These prosecutions were all started by her and Biden against their political opponents. Me. Get that out right away.
Have a caravan heading to the border. People showing up to the border with Biden-Harris T-shirts. Everything we have of people swarming the border.
Is this the real world? Like, is this really like how we're doing things? This is insane. What are you talking about? People showing up to the border with Biden-Harris t-shirts? And this is like a scene out of a movie. It really is. Out of like a parody.
Paid bail for rioters in the Minnesota Freedom Fund.
She paid and raised bail. She paid bail to get the violent rioters in Minnesota out of jail.
Tim Walz let Minnesota burn. Kamala Harris burned out the woods, lit the matches.
Put it in there. Put it right in with the stuff, right?
With that post, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You could do it either that or separate.
Say more lies, lying about the Project 2025.
Oh, lying against Project 25, which she knows, and so do all Democrats, that I have absolutely nothing to do with.
Lying about. She says we all know what a second term will look like. We can say yes. No inflation, secure borders, the best economy in the history of the world.
No inflation. No inflation, secure borders, and the best economy in the history of the world. Yeah. None of that happened, actually.
She said chart a new way forward. Turning a new way.
Chart a new way forward.
She's done nothing but harm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. A hard night of work.
The amount of
Can I get
people.
another Coke?
How dare YouTube fail to pop up a notification? Welcome. Welcome, folks. It happens. It happens.
Right. He was literally holding a Coke there. The amount of people involved in the
Ground level
tweeting.
news, welcome. And yet, he's
or-
president. He won. Well, he didn't win the 2020 election, but he won 2024. And here we are.
The truthing process, like as they get out his immediate thoughts that quickly. I mean, it speaks to, I guess, what his appeal is. He simulated some sort of direct communication style with people, but there you have it. There's Natalie right by his
Take
side.
a look at this compilation.
Yeah,
of her
also,
on,
like, it really does show, like, just how, like, delusional, right, this whole operation is. Because, like, it's not Trump by himself just, like, truthing all these things out. He's being told this stuff because it appeals to him, right? And he's just firing it off using his stenographer over here to do it. That's how all of this is getting accomplished. If you want a behind the scenes look at the propaganda machine, that's what it is.
One America.
It's Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance, Matt Gaetz at the time, just giving the president just one-liners or talking points, I guess, to rapid fire these
Network. This is
truths
from
out.
2021. Who did this clip?
Decoding Fox News. This is number 8.
Great work from Decoding Fox News.
Always putting together these great compilations. So here she is before she worked for Trump, but after he saved her life.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if this is before she worked for me. It's more like she was working for me, just not in close proximity.
It's like we knew each other all along.
We can't talk about winning back the House and Senate in 2022 and the White House in 2024 if we don't act on the fact that we actually did win the White House and the Senate in 2020. We shouldn't be afraid to say that because it's true. We the people know America as we know it could be ending in the next 2 or 4 years,
She
which
was
is
an
exactly what
OAN
President
host?
Trump is warning of. They think if they can get President Trump, they can get the 75 million people to shut up and stand down. And
She was an OAN host? I mean, this makes sense. This makes sense.
as President Trump said at CPAC yesterday, each of us, if we haven't already, have a decision to make. Not in 2022 at the ballot box, but right here and right now, to choose a side. And by the way, sidelines don't count. It just shows how desperate the Democrats were to find the votes to make up for President Trump's insurmountable lead. And they can be summed up in 2 words.
That's cringe. Cringe, 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 cringe. Hey, Jesse James, welcome. How's it going? Cringe.
Trump won. President Trump says nothing's easy, but who wants nothing? Certainly not us. For above all else, we want to save America. President Trump is right.
What are you talking about?
We don't have the luxury to sit back and wait. This is not an off year.
How has America been saved exactly? Like I'm genuinely curious as to how America has been saved and from what. How has America been saved and from what really? Is my question. And good to see you. Good to see you.
or in between year, this is the year we decide the future of our country. Could Trump supporters be labeled enemies of the state? Because they are still afraid, not just of President Trump, but we the people. Thank God for 4 years, we had one who still inspires us to.
Yeah. Pepperidge Farm members. Now, as it turns out, well, surprise, surprise, it's actually the left-leaning people that are now being branded as enemies of the state. If you're anti-capitalist, boom, enemy of the state. If you're anti AI, possibly enemy of the state. If you are communist or communist adjacent, enemy of the state. Yeah. Nice
this
meme.
day. As do the words.
Love you too. I think we got the gist.
She's so good.
I wasn't done. Keep it going.
She's so good. Play it again. Play it again.
I lost it.
Put it on the loop.
I lost it. It doesn't last long these days.
Put it on a loop, sweetheart, Brian.
It's
Brian, sweetheart, put it.
Moments passed.
As soon as I'm done throwing up, I'll do it.
You think she was sitting on his lap as she was dictating those truths?
You know how hard it is to chase Sam's Subaru down Brooklyn? Sam, here's another tear sheet.
Okay. Read it to me, sweetheart.
Need a hard copy, okay?
Run behind me, Brian. It keeps it trim, just how I like it.
This exercise is good for you, Brian.
No fatties.
Yep. Keeps you slim. It keeps me with my inflammation. Oh my God.
See, that wasn't the worst segment, Sam.
Oh no, that was fine.
I was the only one that cared about Natalie Harp.
Honestly, that's probably the best view into how Trump operates that I've ever seen on film.
Yeah, basically.
Yes. The other one is one of the only human moments in the Melania documentary when he said that he thought that they put the college football playoff on the same day as the inauguration on purpose. You know, college football, the famously anti-Republican
Yeah, they hate Trump over there.
ecosystem. They hate Trump. It's just, right now on Twitter, it's one of the top trending topics. Trump aide Natalie Harp slept in locker room for proximity, which I enjoy. I enjoy the storyline.
You libs
Nothing
just
else.
don't believe in commitment. That's
Can we get a statement from like Melania? You know, like seriously, like where are the people of the family values people? Okay, who pretend to be all high and mighty or whatever. Yeah, can we get can we get a statement from them?
Hey folks, don't forget.
Obviously, it's a rhetorical question. These people will still support him, no matter what. America could be saved to stop being American. The others of my kind would make it out of time or silently vacuumed into prison industrial complex and to be thrown into crematorium ovens without anyone bothering to gas them first. Yeah, I mean, I don't know to what extent we're seeing that, but I can definitely say that being American is not cool, man. It's just not cool anymore. And it shouldn't be. And it shouldn't be. At the very least, I'm glad that at least you were able to leave. At least you were able to leave. You're hiding it so you'll never directly see it. Well, I really can't say. But yeah, at least you got to leave. Not all of us will be able to do so. Or should have to, but you know, whatever. Bad times. Bad times. Guess we'll do this one first. The Trump administration is to rescind a rule protecting the old growth forest. So, yeah, that's cool. Cleanest air, he says. The Trump administration said on yesterday, it plans to rescind the roadless rule that has protected old growth forests in the U.S. for 25 years, potentially opening up almost 45 million acres of national forest to road construction, drilling, and logging, which is insane. This has huge ramifications. Has anybody seen the movie Fern Gully? If you haven't, I highly recommend. It's an old movie. Not being able to save everyone is not an excuse to save no one. I mean, that's true. That is true. Conservationists have feared the announcement was coming since last summer after Brooke Rollins, Trump's Secretary of Agriculture, targeted a rule brought in by Bill Clinton's administration, describing it as overtly restrictive and absurd obstacle to development. On Tuesday, the U.S. Forest Service, an agency inside the Department of Agriculture, formally announced that it had filed the proposal to rescind in its entirety the 2001 Roadless Area Conservation Rule. Environmental groups immediately criticized the plan for rollbacks of protections to forests from Alaska to Oregon to North Carolina. The rule is the only thing preventing much of our wildest remaining national forests from industrial development. These forests offer critical habitat for wildlife, provide clean, fresh air and water for millions, and contain vast swaths of the remaining old-growth forests in the country. This is so freaking sad, man. This frustrates me so much. Said Alex Craven, the forest campaign manager for the Sierra Club. The Natural Resource Defense Council appealed for submission of their public comment period to defend our forests from the administration's chopping block. Their scheme would open up tens of millions of acres to our national forests to destructive logging, drilling, and road building, including iconic public lands from California's Tahoe National Forest to Alaska's Tongass National Forest to the Appalachian Trail. The Trump administration said the moves would remove obstacles to managing forests and fighting wildfires. For too long, outdated restrictions have kept tens of millions of forest acres off limits to the very treatments that improve forest health and reduce wildlife risk to our communities. Nah, dude. Nah. Nope. Today we filed a proposal to restore the authority to local forest managers who know the land best, removing the barriers that have kept them from doing the work the land demands. Active forest management is not optional, it's essential, said Tom Schultz, the primary forest chief. More than 40% of inventoried roadless areas, primarily in the West, have high or very high wildfire hazard potential, and only 5% of those areas have received hazardous fuel reduction treatment since 2014. Also, maybe dealing with the source would be a better way of doing it. But Craven and the Sierra Club said the administration's attempt to blame the roadless rule for worsening wildfire risk, not like literally anything else, ignores both the facts and the rule itself. Roads generally lead to more ignitions and result in more wildfires, not fewer. And the roadless rule is always allowed for targeted action to reduce hazardous fuels. What it does not allow is using wildfires as an excuse to open up some of America's most intact public forests to industrial exploitation and new road construction. Clinton had championed the roadless rule late in his second term as president after concerns grew around unsustainable logging of national forests. The biggest roadless area is the Tongass National Forest in Alaska, which stores huge amounts of carbon and is home to brown and black bears, wolves, and bald eagles. America's last great backcountry forests are not bargaining chips, said Emma Powell, the government affairs manager at Alaska Wilderness League, said on Tuesday about the plan. The Tongass and Chugach National Forests are global treasures. From fisheries to tourism to outdoor recreation, these landscapes also supply thousands of jobs and generate billions in economic activity each year. And again, just to add, reiterate the point, it doesn't matter. I don't care how much economic activity or not. It shouldn't matter. This is a sickness that That we always have to defer to that. We always have to defer to that. Concerns of environmentalists were especially focused on logging. It's clear the process. It's clear the processes required by the National Environmental Policy Act are being treated as mere boxes to check on the path to enacting an entirely political agenda to clear-cut the last remaining intact old-growth forests in America," said Maggie Rabb, executive director of the Southeast Alaska Conservation Council. The public has until September 21st to comment on the plan. Trump is pushing for the largest evisceration of public lands protection in American history and against what Americans want, said Randy Spivak, Public Lands Policy Director at Center for Biological Diversity. Once you start bulldozing roads for commercial logging and industrial development, there's no getting them back. Yep. That is 100% true. Shifting gears here to this story, the Minnesota AG, Ellison, announced his lawsuit against Texas Governor Abbott over extradition of the ICE agent who was being wanted or being tried for shooting somebody. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison on Tuesday announced he is suing Texas Governor Greg Abbott over the extradition of an immigration agent accused of shooting a man in Minneapolis. Ellison and Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty previously sent letters to Abbott asking him to sign extradition paperwork for Christian Castro, the ICE agent accused of shooting a man in the leg in North Minneapolis in January. Castro is charged with 4 counts of second-degree assault and 1 count of falsely reporting a crime. I would add attempted murder to that, but whatever. According to Moriarty, Texas Rangers arrested him on May 29th, and he has been held at the Cameron County Jail ever since. Looney Tunes welcome. Moriarty and Ellison repeatedly stressed that extradition requests are intended to be administrative, and an apparent refusal like Abbott's is extremely rare, if not unprecedented. We've never heard anything taking this long because it is an administrative process. It's not supposed to be controversial. Right, but have you seen the governor? This guy is as fast as they come. Ellison's letter to Abbott set a deadline of 5 p.m. on Monday and threatened legal action if he did not comply. Christian Castro is not above the law, and Greg Abbott isn't either. Abbott's office told CCO that it will not comment pending on extradition matters. Yeah, whatever, coward. Whatever, coward. However, Abbott said when asked about the lawsuit at a press conference, "I don't trust Tim Walz on anything. This is not about Tim Walz. This is so dishonest, dude. Let alone something like this. While they're making demands, I got a demand of my own, and that is it's time for Minnesota to step up and repay the United States of America and Americans for all the fraud they have committed in their state under federal programs. It has nothing to do with an ICE agent shooting somebody." This has nothing to do with an ICE agent shooting somebody. Greatly welcome. They should file obstruction charges against them. Yep. I will not respond to them at all until they step up and do what's right and they acknowledge their fault in the fraud that took place and they fully repay the United States of America for the fraud they committed. Insane against Abbott. Yeah, absolutely. Insane. So a guy, an ICE agent, okay, a Gestapo thug, has been arrested for shooting somebody in the leg, and this guy is talking about fraud. Insanity. The lawsuit also seeks a temporary restraining order to bar the Cameron County Sheriff's Office from releasing Castro. Ellison said that Texas has a 90-day limit on the detention of fugitives awaiting extradition. This means that as early as August 26, a week from now, 90 days after he was first captured and detained, Christian Castro could walk free from jail in Texas and flee justice in Minnesota, including by leaving the country. Castro is a flight risk in the estimation of both Ellison and Moriarty. Yeah, obviously, 100%. He did not turn himself in. He did not make himself available to Texas authorities so that we could start this process, so those are indications to us that he is a flight risk. Moriarty said in the last 5 years there have been more than 30 successful extradition requests between Texas and Minnesota. Since Castro's arrest, Abbott has signed 3 other extradition requests from Minnesota, she said. Democratic Texas Representative Sylvia Garcia and Vicente Gonzalez have also urged Abbott to authorize Castro's extradition. Charges say Castro lied about the shooting, claiming he was attacked by 2 people with a shovel and a broomstick before he fired. According to a criminal complaint, Castro's version of the events is contradicted by the video, as oftentimes is shown from these Gestapo thugs, of the incident, 4 other accounts from those involved, and physical evidence. Moriarty's office have charged another ICE agent, Gregory Morgan Jr., with second-degree assault after he allegedly pointed a gun at 2 people in Twin Cities Highway in February. Insane. So, I mean, just to be clear, like, it's obvious that the governor is protecting this ICE thug. And he is doing so solely because of political reasons. He agrees and is okay with what's happening. And he doesn't believe that these thugs should be prosecuted for the crimes that they have committed. But it's not up to him. It's not up to him, and as Creolio pointed out, I think that if he does not extradite this criminal, that he should be charged as well. That simple. Alright, folks, we got one more story. Got one more story before we get out of here. All right. I was just thinking also about the rules that the administration wants to take to allow logging in these old growth forests. I hope that one day I'll be able to see the old trees in California. Although it's unclear when that will happen, but I hope I get to see some of this stuff before these people destroy it. I was just thinking about that. It's so freaking sad and angering. Unbelievable. But, anyways. It's the world we live in. Everything is about serving capital. It's crazy. Crazy. Anyways, talk about this, shifting gears before we get out of here. Whistleblower alleges political pressure, lack of evidence, and anti-Semitism probes targeting schools. Surprise, surprise, huh? A Trump administration task force created to combat anti-Semitism. The calls coming from inside the house, folks. About anti-Semitism, let me tell you. pushed for settlements with Ivy League universities despite government investigations that were rushed and incomplete or that failed to establish legal violations by the schools, a former Justice Department lawyer alleged in a whistleblower disclosure obtained by the AP. Poor ADT isn't that damn sleepy. They say he's very sleepy. It's untrue. It's very true. Unlike your favorite president. It's like I have to wake his ass up on camera. Stay awake, sir. Trying. I'm trying, Mr. President. I'm trying. The complaint alleges that the investigations into some of the nation's most prestigious academic institutions were designed to strong-arm the schools into cutting deals for political purposes. Wow, surprise, surprise. Outcomes of the investigations were predetermined without regard to evidence. Yeah, duh, right? Obviously. In a politically mandated effort to extract money from schools through and what's so insane is like these schools, some of them just like capitulated. Wild. To extract money from schools through settlement demands and funding freezes under the pretext of rooting out anti-Semitism, the complaint alleges. Right. I mean, we've talked about this. Like, we know this is all nonsense from the beginning. This is more of a like a confirmation from a whistleblower that this is exactly what was happening. That this wasn't actually about rooting out anti-Semitism, right? Because it was nonsense from the beginning. Like, the anti-Semitism that they were talking about is people protesting an ongoing genocide. That's what was happening. The work of a multi-agency task force launched by the Justice Department under the then Attorney General Pam Bondi in February of 2025 was marked by extraordinary procedural irregularities, predetermined outcomes with factual or legal support, and disregard for the law and the Constitution, lawyers for the former government attorney wrote in seeking watchdog investigations into their clients' complaints. Careful, Portland. That's considered a terroristic threat. That's a terroristic threat. You terrorist person. The complaint taps into a broader public discussion about the administration's efforts to confront allegations of anti-Semitism at colleges, a problem that received renewed attention during campus protests over Israel's genocide in Gaza that some Jewish students said made them feel unsafe. Yeah, like, remember how people were saying, like, this is not happening? Okay, yeah, it turns out that that's true. Like, this is what is so aggravating, that, like, the left points out, like, correctly what's going on, and people still, like, doubt that. Like, do you really think that this was actually happening on a broad scale? I don't believe that for a second. The Dow. I don't believe that for a second. Like, I guess maybe you could find, like, a couple, right? But to say that this was an ongoing thing, a problem so big that we need to, like, involve the government to strong arm these colleges is obviously insane. It just never happened. President Trump returned to the White House with the goal of rooting out anti-Semitism. Spoiler alert, he doesn't, and he didn't. That he said had gone unchecked during the Biden administration. Yeah. But critics have called the government's response heavy-handed and said it infringed on free speech rights and coerced concessions from public institutions. Which was, yeah. Hence why I'll never be repatriated to the U.S. alive. A key House Democrat is publicizing the whistleblower's allegations. Lawyers from the former Justice Department attorney, identified as Haley Van Arum, filed disclosure with the Inspector General at the Department of Justice and Health and Human Services, as well as the Office of Special Counsel. Van Arum spent nearly a decade working in Justice Department Civil Rights Division before being involuntarily assigned to HHS work on the title on Title VI investigations into the universities. The health department assignees were initially told to scrutinize allegations of anti-Semitism at medical school commencement ceremonies. The lawyers were advised the New York Post story describing the New York Post, known legitimate source, the New York Post. Okay. Describing anti-Semitic conduct at graduation events, the complaint says, but the inquiries were later expanded to focus on the entire schools in the case of Columbia and Brown, according to Van Arenum's account. Van Arenum left the Justice Department in May of 2025 because she was unwilling to be made vulnerable to further participation in politically motivated investigations unsupported by facts and contrary to law. Contrary to law is a long-winded way of saying illegal, right? Which also says officials targeted some Middle East studies faculty for the content of their work and other professors for their Muslim faith, something that is illegal. Kristen Pelz, a Justice Department spokesperson, said the department stands behind the integrity of its investigations, even though they were nonsense. The integrity being none, I guess. I guess they stand behind that. I guess. Spokesperson for the Health and Human Services Department did not immediately respond to requests seeking comments on Tuesday. Representative Jamie Raskin, a top Democrat on the House Judiciary, wrote separately to Harmeet Dillon, who, as the Assistant Attorney General in charge of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, has a public face of the department's efforts to counter anti-Semitism. In his letter, he said anti-Semitism at colleges and medical schools is a real problem that needs to be investigated. Yes. A real problem, he says. But, he told Dillon, your investigation into anti-Semitism was fake, a pre-baked frame-up operation thoroughly political in nature. Raskin wrote that the whole project was designed to harass professors and administrators at major universities to curtail their freedom of speech and academic freedom, and strip targeted institutions of hundreds of millions of dollars in grants that they had already been awarded on the merits of their applications. Yep. The whistleblower complaint deals chiefly with the investigations into 3 Ivy League universities, Brown, Harvard, and Columbia. It alleges that in the case of Brown, the investigative team did not find evidence to support a violation of Title VI, the section of the Civil Rights Act that bars discrimination based on race, color, and national origin in programs that receive federal funding, but that the leadership refused to permit a notice of no violation and instead sought some sort of settlement or resolution, despite acknowledging the absence of a legal basis for doing so. Cowards. Investigators did find evidence of discrimination at Columbia, the complaint says, but the investigation was done on an accelerated timetable before adequate factual development and legal review were completed, and relied on allegations that were unsupported based on news reports and litigation filings or that implicated protected First Amendment activity. Columbia University agreed to pay the government $200 million as part of an agreement to restoring access to federal funding. Brown University separately agreed to pay $50 million to Rhode Island Workforce Development Organizations to end 3 federal investigations involving allegations of anti-Semitism and racial bias in admissions, with no findings of wrongdoing. Cowards. In the investigation into Harvard, Trump administration officials discussed extraordinary funding freezes and sweeping proposed settlement terms before an investigation had been completed and that could establish Title VI violations. Sean Keaveney, the then HHS acting general counsel, said he believed Harvard would settle because they were over a barrel, according to the complaint. Wild. Wild. I would like to know if there's like any repercussions for this, right? Like corruption, weaponization of the Justice Department to strong-arm these institutions, which caved, by the way. A federal judge last year ordered the Trump administration to reverse its cuts of more than $2.6 billion in research funding for the university, saying the government used anti-Semitism as a smokescreen for a targeted, ideologically motivated assault on this country's premier universities. A different judge last week dismissed Trump's administration's lawsuit that accused Harvard University of turning a blind eye to harassment of Jewish students. Insane. But that is the world we live in. This is blatantly against the First Amendment. This is unambiguously the government strong-arming universities into basically adopting whatever the government says, right? So anti-genocide protests are just anti-Semitism. And they have to take that. It is insane. It's insane. This is an insane timeline we live in. Okay, where we have like the president making like propaganda, like a reality TV style propaganda with his like obvious like side mistress. Like none of this is serious. Okay, the guy is out there truthing like nobody's business with this professional like mistress stenographer, being evacuated in food carts. Like this we live in an insane time. The same administration that is absolute like clown insanity, clown levels of circus going on here is the same administration who's like trying to take away, not trying, but successfully taking away First Amendment rights from universities, strong-arming states by, threatening to pull funding. All of this is just insane. It's insane. It's insane. We live in an insane timeline. This is the same administration who's now trying to pull regular rules to open up like old growth forests for logging. This is all insane. All of it from top to bottom is insane. But here we are. And like also just to add to that, like the guy is a convicted felon. The guy's committing crimes in front of our faces and has yet to see a single day in jail. Most likely will never see jail. Insane. Anyways, folks, I gotta get out of here. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. I seriously appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. If you're on the YouTube side and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We're at 480 or 90. I don't know. It's very close to 500 subscribers. Okay, it's very, very close. In fact, I'll tell you right now. It is very close. So thank you all for helping to get that close. And I think we can do it, folks. I think we can do it. 487 subscribers. Okay, that's 13. Okay, 13 subscribers to 500. Okay, I believe in you, folks. So if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the YouTube. It really does help us out. Spread the word far and wide. We are here Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out my show on this space every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, if you want to support the channel directly, check out all the stuff, all the things, and join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. I will be trying to be there more presently. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Thank you, Michael Hassner. Thank you, Ladybug, for modding the chat. I appreciate all of you guys. Time to end another episode of Sleepy ADT. I do know he works for fake CNN. Bye-bye. Thank you all for being here as always, folks. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Alviana, I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya tomorrow at about 5 p.m. About 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Didn't even put the music on right. Look at that. Didn't even manage to put the music on right. Hang tight, folks. Alright, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.